don't understand that there is a war brewing. It's looking like we're going back to the Crusades. That's what it's looking like. And you have a lot of people with their heads in the sand right now, not understanding what's happening. Seriously. And what's really crazy is that you have, I wouldn't say 50%, but you have a large sector of people in our nation that are bending the knee and bending to the will of these people, not understanding what they're bending to. It's really crazy. It's also very, very scary. Hit that like button. Let's keep going.
Now it's getting through Congress. So before it was by the sword, now it's getting themselves into parliament and then making laws that act as the sword, the Islamophobia law in Canada, M103.
Yeah.
Muslim Brotherhood.
I find that there are only two things which are open to our movements. Ballot or bullet, nothing in between.
I used to say that democracy is haram. Now I say participation in democracy is our jihad. That's our jihad. We're going to fight not through the bullets but the ballot.
Going to the ballot and voting is now an obligatory action, fard ayn. And it is a jihad that is now needs to be done because this is our modern jihad. You can elect a person who wants the Sharia.
Because in the United States, what we do know is that in the past election, just this last election, there have been over 800 Muslim candidates running for office.
We may end up with about 50 members of Congress in the next 6 years. That's really the essence of dismantling the system of injustice, is to replace it with the people who represent the Prophet ﷺ.
They're not hiding it anymore. This isn't some covert operation anymore. It's overt. It's in your face. They're talking about it. They're letting you know their game plan. And we're seeing it play out right in our faces. I mean, these folks have literally taken positions in a multitude of legislations around the country on the state level. Obviously, you see the Ilhan Omar's, you see the Rashida Tlaib's. They're out there. They're in offices on the national scale. These people are not playing. And they understood that, hey, we can't beat these guys' heads up. So we're going to infiltrate and we're going to use their system against them. They're going to use the Constitution. They're doing it. They're using the ballots. They're doing it. And unfortunately, we have a party in our country called the Democrat Party that are actually assisting them in the takeover. It's really crazy. You guys got to understand that, hey, the battle is here. The Trojan horse has been rolled into the country and they've allowed these people outside of that horse. It's real. It's very real.
Also, I'm somebody that has lived in Saudi Arabia for 2 years. I'm somebody that deployed to Iraq. I have actually lived in countries that have Sharia law. Sharia law has absolutely no place in this great nation. It has absolutely no place in the great state of Texas. And I will fight tooth and nail to prevent that from happening. And for those people that think that everybody that comes to this country, that they think they want to sing Kumbaya and hold our hand and they're rooting for America, I'm here to tell you that they are not. Look, I'm all about multiculturalism. I understand this is a melting pot. I get all that. But this is America. We have our own culture. We have our own constitution. We have our own set of laws. And if you aren't willing to assimilate to what American culture is, I have an idea for you. Go back to your country of origin because you don't belong here. That's the bottom line. And I'm not saying that we can't have people of different religions. I'm not saying we can't have people of different beliefs. But I will tell you that one of my good buddies is that he is Muslim. He is a fighting Texas Aggie. But this guy is as red-blooded American MAGA as possible. And he told me, Wesley, I may come from a Muslim background, but I view myself as an American first. If you're willing to adopt that attitude, well, then come on board. But if you're not willing to adopt that attitude, you are not going to infiltrate this country and infiltrate Texas and think that you are going to turn Texas law into Sharia law.
We're dealing with effectively a political movement, a political effort to Islamify Texas and the United States, to building a majority, to then implement Sharia law, and ultimately to convert people.
So if you have been keen on social media, there has been interviews of Somalis expressing their preference for Sharia law over the United States Constitution. Some even go further, saying they believe America could eventually become a Muslim country. Now, those are strong statements, so instead of reacting emotionally, let's actually break it down in a clear and a structured way. What is Sharia law and what is United States Constitution? Why would someone prefer one over the other? And can these systems realistically coexist? Let's continue with the clips and then I'll come back with more comments.
A Somali man from Ohio claims America will become an Islamic state and says Trump should be told. Listen to what he has to say.
Islam's coming to America.
Islam's coming to America?
Yes, it's coming.
Wait, is this going to be
one day America will become a Muslim state, a Muslim country.
Really?
Tell Trump.
That's never going to happen.
Yes, it will
That's
happen.
never going to happen.
God is powerful.
It's never going to
God is powerful.
Is that what everybody here wants? You want to see
That's one thing. Our goal is to make America Islam.
Really?
Islamic state. Yes.
Look.
God is powerful.
It's never going to happen.
You control the heart of Americans. God guides whom He wills.
Over my dead.
Many Americans are disturbed. A country built on Christian heritage opens its doors, feeds you, protects you, and then you openly talk about taking control, imposing your religion, and reshaping the nation that helped you. That crosses a line. What makes it worse? When people raise these concerns, supporters rush in saying it's fake or AI, even when it's real. Add reports of fraud in some communities, and trust is shaken. Protection does not mean entitlement or dominance. America must act fast. Europe must act fast. Are governments responding quickly enough or waiting until it's too late? Drop your thought. During an interview, some Somalians living in Minnesota said they prefer Sharia law over American law. This has caused some Americans to express concerns about the difference in legal preferences.
Neighborhood of Minneapolis. Do you feel more comfortable living under American law, or do you feel more comfortable living under Sharia law?
Sharia law. I'm a Muslim. I prefer Sharia law. Sharia law, yes.
You prefer Sharia law over American law?
Of course, yeah. Of course, yeah.
Now this is where it gets interesting. She was asked whether it is right to punish someone who insults Prophet Muhammad. Listen carefully to what she said.
He can make his daughter marry somebody.
Yeah, he can. Yeah, he can. He has the authority, you know?
The authority to that.
Yeah, to do that, yeah.
So here, how young do you think it's okay?
Yeah, 15.
Is it right to kill somebody who insults Muhammad?
Yeah, because she is just, she hid the religion, I understand. But she shouldn't pick up the prophet, you know?
Now, this is why some Americans were not happy with the statement they made. People feel that if you're living in someone else's country, a country that welcomed you, offered you safety, freedom, and opportunities, then it's expected that you follow that country's laws. That's what some Americans find frustrating. They believe that while everyone should be free to practice their beliefs, the laws of the land should still apply. Others have a calmer view. They say this doesn't need to cause conflict. If someone feels that American law doesn't align with their beliefs, then perhaps the best thing is to live in their home country, in this case, Somalia, where they can practice Sharia law peacefully, without interfering with anyone else. So here's the question for you. Do you think people should be allowed to follow Sharia law in the community where they live, or should they follow the laws of the country they're living in? This is for educational purposes. Note hate.
Sharia law is not the single written legal code like constitution. It is a religious framework derived from Islamic sources, mainly the Quran, the Hadith, that is, the sayings and actions of the Prophet Muhammad, and centuries of scholarly interpretation. So it covers a wide range of life, including personal behavior and morality, family law, that is marriage, divorce, inheritance, and then financial ethics, religious duties like prayer and fasting. So for many Muslims, Sharia is primarily about how to live a moral and a disciplined life. But it is important to understand that interpretation vary widely. Some interpretations are personal and spiritual, others are focused on community values. Others in certain countries are codified into state law, enforced by governments, and include legal punishments and regulations. So when someone says, I prefer Sharia law, that statement can mean very different depending on the person.
Believe what you want to believe. It is a fundamental part of the First Amendment. But at the end of the day, when you've got something that is undermining our rule of law, undermining our Constitution, we do not have to allow more people to come in who adhere to it, nor do we have to allow the creation of communities that are exclusionary and designed to implement Sharia law and so forth. Importantly, our Judeo-Christian heritage serves at the center of who we are as a country, and we have to remember that even as we protect the Constitution and the First Amendment, but we've got to remember to protect our culture at the same time.
There. We have to remember to protect our culture. That's what's on the line here, ladies and gentlemen. It's our culture, our way of life. What are you willing to do to defend it? That's the question that I have for you guys. I want you guys to listen and watch these last two videos. This is a young lady explaining what Sharia law is, and I want you to see another young lady who decided that she's going to go to a Muslim nation and live up under Sharia law for a bit.
I'm just going to read a few of the laws that I've read in this book of Sharia law. The precepts of a permanent marriage, law number 2476. A woman who is involved in a permanent marriage cannot leave the house without the permission of her husband. She must also make herself available for every legal pleasure that he desires. She should also not stop him from engaging in intercourse with her without a legal excuse. That's just part of it. Here's the rest. If she performs these duties, it will be obligatory on her husband to provide her with food, clothing, housing, and the rest of her needs, according to what is commonly acceptable. If he does not provide these to her, regardless of whether he is able to do so or not, he will be indebted to his wife. Whatever that means, because the theme that I'm getting out of reading a couple pages of here and a couple of chapters of the Quran is that men aren't actually held accountable for these things unless they do something like apostate. Law number 2477, if a woman does not obey her husband in the duties that were mentioned in the previous article, she will have sinned. She will also have no right to claim food, clothing, housing for the rest of her needs from him. However, her mar does not get voided. A mar is like a dowry. Those are the first two laws under the precepts of permanent marriages.
Are women's rights in Afghanistan that bad in 2025? I traveled here to understand more as a woman myself, and this is what I learned. Here's 5 things that are illegal for women in Afghanistan to do today. Number 1, women are not allowed to appear or speak on media, television, radios, or in journalism. Women are also banned from praying in mosques and should pray at home. Women are also not allowed to receive an education after 6th grade. Going to parks and exercising is also banned for women, limiting them from a lot of outdoor spaces. Lastly, women also have to dine in designated areas at restaurants. So to answer your question, yes, women's rights in Afghanistan in 2025 are really that bad. And the only thing worse is staying silent.
Yeah.
Make sure to follow and share so that
who are advocating for this. Even if they are, not directly advocating for it out loud, they're advocating for it with their vote. Because they're supporting people that would potentially implement this type of law. I want to hear from you guys in the comment section. What are your thoughts on this? Seriously, what are your thoughts? Hit the like button, share the video, subscribe to the channel, turn the notifications on to all so you never miss an upload. Consider joining the ARP family. Buy your brother a coffee. Link in the description box below. Join us Monday through Friday, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for ARP in the morning. And as always, keep God first. Stay prayed up. We'll catch up with you all next time. Peace.
Vibes so raw, can't hide the truth. Words so sharp,
The Constitution is the foundational legal document of United States. It establishes the structure of government, the limits of government power, and the rights of individuals. So one of its core principles is religious freedom. That means people are free to practice any religion or no religion at all, and the government cannot enforce a specific religious system. So this creates a separation between religion and state authority. So the tension comes from the fact that these two systems are fundamentally different. Sharia in its stricter forms can function as a religious legal system guiding both private and public life. The US Constitution, on the other hand, is secular, pluralistic, and designed to accommodate many beliefs at once. So the core question becomes, can a religious legal framework and a secular constitutional system coexist in the same space? In practice, United States already allows personal religious practice, but it does not allow religious law to override the civil law. End of jumping to conclusions, here are some important questions that you guys should ask yourselves. When someone say prefer Sharia law, do they mean personal lifestyle or government system? As Are these views widely held or just individual opinions captured on camera? How should a society balance religious freedom with a shared legal framework? And where is the line between practicing your beliefs and changing the legal system for everyone? Those are the questions you guys should ask, and I would love for you guys to share on the comment section. Make it a discussion. No insults, no harassment, just a discussion. Kindly make it respectful. So this is a complex issue and it is easy to oversimplify it into extremes, but when you break it down, it's really about law versus belief, individuals preferences versus the national structure, and how different systems interact in a diverse society. So understanding those differences is key to having a serious conversation about it. Thank you so much for watching. Bye for now.